and is interested in potentially trading for one of the Suns stars. Further context from our guy, Adrian Wojnarowski. Woj saying this. The implications of the Rockets landing the Suns picks. Houston wants to trade for Kevin Durant, and that becomes far easier if they can return the Suns picks that they gave up in the Durant deal to the Nets. Suns have said they're keeping Durant for now, but that could change next season. My goodness, turn into a journeyman. But now Houston has the picks to make the Suns whole again. Wowzers. Wendy, what is the latest on KD and Book potentially on the move?
This is one of the most fascinating trades I've seen in my career.
Okay.
And because it happened on the Bridges Day, it gets a little bit obscured. This is amazing. So I just want you to think about this. The Brooklyn Nets have announced to the world they're tanking. They have traded their best player. They will trade their other best players. They're done. They're going to try to go into the next few drafts and rebuild. Wouldn't it be amazing if you had their draft picks? If you controlled their next two drafts, like you're in a dream situation. You're heading to the bar. You're ordering champagne. You're like, this is just like what happened the last decade when Boston had the picks and the Russian oligarch gave up on the team and stopped paying for it. Next thing you know, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are landing in Boston's lap. You're like, this is going to be us. Houston can say, we have a victory lap. We knew James Harden wasn't going to work out there. We took your draft picks, and now look what we're going to do. That's not what they did. Instead, they gave the picks right back. Why would they give the picks right back? Why? Why would they do that? And I understand that they traded one swap and one first, and they got two swaps and two firsts, so two is more than one. But those Nets picks, super valuable, instantaneously, top 5, top 10 assets in the whole league. And Houston did that deal. And not only that, the Nets were like, let's get the league on the phone. Yeah. They did the trade last night. This trade is official. It's been announced. They didn't want Houston to have second chance. They didn't want somebody else to come into Houston and say, oh, my God, wait a minute, you're going to make those Nets picks available that they're going to tank for the next 2 years with these two drafts coming up? No. Why? Because they got Suns assets. The Rockets were sitting on that because they had made that Harden trade. The Nets were sitting on those Suns assets because of the Durant trade. And what they're basically doing is putting a big, giant piece of red meat out in front of the Suns and saying, you want to get out of the Durant transaction? You don't think your team with these 3 stars under these new rules is built correctly? Yeah. Let us bail you out. There's all kinds of connections here. The Ime Udoka was Kevin Durant's assistant in Brooklyn. Royal Ivey, who's on Ime's staff, longtime, very close associate, former teammate of Kevin Durant. The Rockets are willing to make a big move now. They want to make the move now. Yes, of course, they could hold on to these picks. They go all the way out to 2029. They could just sit there and wait. They could make a different trade. But if they were interested in making a different trade, they would have held on to the Nets picks because those are more valuable. They are setting they want Durant. I don't think Durant and Booker have any issue with each other. I don't think Devin Booker has any interest in leaving Phoenix. Yeah. But Phoenix has now at least got to look at this because the other thing is,
would Durant ever want to go?
Let's see. And let me say one more thing, Dog. I'm sorry. I know it's a filibuster. Tonight, the Rockets have the number 3 pick in the draft. This is a very important position because they could draft Donovan Clingan. I want you to watch real close when that number 3 pick comes. Yeah. I think it's one of the most important things of the night. If the Rockets take Donovan Clingan, they are basically saying we're going to take a new franchise center. Alperen Şengün, who is their very talented young Turkish center who had a great year last year. He could potentially, if they take Clingan, it makes Şengün potentially available. And if you have those assets, plus Şengün, plus other assets that the Rockets have, they can make a very compelling offer to Phoenix if Phoenix gets to a point where they would be willing to engage.
Well, first of all, I'm not giving up Şengün and that number 3 overall pick along with additional assets for Kevin Durant at this stage of the game for Houston. Kevin Durant, he's phenomenal. He's great, one of the greatest of all time. We get all of that. The flip side to it, you have to ask yourself the question, is Kevin Durant going to get us over the hump and elevate us to a title contender? How can I possibly say that when that same Kevin Durant has been swept in the first round 2 of the last 3 years? I can't do that. I can't do that when he got swept with Kyrie Irving as his teammate. I can't say that when he got swept with Bradley Beal and Devin Booker as his teammate. And now you go to Houston potentially, and it's a Jalen Green, is this Şengün or whomever, Jabari Smith Jr., Fred VanVleet, who's a real one. We love Fred VanVleet. I just can't make that proclamation. I understand that Ime and Royal Ivy, all of those angles that you brought up, Wendy, you're right, 1,000% on point. And here's the thing. Leadership comes into play. And I'm not getting on Kevin Durant. I'm just highlighting everybody has their own different style. Kevin Durant wants to play ball and go home. He wants to play ball out, drop 28 a night on you, bust your living you know what, be one of the greatest players in the world and go home. Houston's a relatively young squad. You need leadership. You need vocal leadership. You need an extended version of leadership that extends beyond the court of play, that helps build a culture. Now, Ime Udoka is going to go a long way towards doing that along with his staff, but you need help from players. And so for me, Kevin Durant at this stage of his career, knowing what we know about him, I'm not sure that's the greatest situation for the Houston Rockets to be in. You're going to get what you're going to get from him. He's going to win your games. You're going to be relevant because he's great. But you need other stuff, other intangibles that he may not necessarily bring. As far as Devin Booker is concerned, I said it before and I'm going to say it again. I never sat up there and said Devin Booker wants out of Phoenix to be a New York Knick. What I said is that he wants to be in Phoenix. But in the event that they ever thought about moving him, New York was a place he would want to be. Now, if you're the Phoenix Suns, you may not want to lose him, but the flip side to it is that what exactly can you get from him? Because what exactly have you won all of these years? He went to the finals against Milwaukee, but that's about it. And he was a part of the team that got swept this year as well. At some point in time, you got to look at the assets that you have and ask yourself, what can you get in return for them? I would make a legitimate argument. You can get just as much, if not more, for Devin Booker as you can get for Kevin Durant. And that's how I'm looking at it. So if I had the choice to pick between the two, it depends on the situation. The younger you are and longevity is your issue, you go with Devin Booker. If you're ready-made now to go for a championship and you just need one more piece, you go with Kevin Durant.
Yeah. First off, that owner in Phoenix, he's not trading Durant. Okay?
He's on the record as saying that he wants to keep them together.
Absolutely. Plus, he just gave Budenholzer $50 million to coach. After he fired Monty Williams because they lost Game 7, after they fired Vogel, who won a championship because they got swept by Minnesota. There is no way. That owner is a pain in the neck. He wants to win. He's not trading Durant, and he's not trading Booker. So I understand Houston put themselves in a situation where Phoenix fell apart again early next year. Maybe they can sort of entice. But I don't think Phoenix is going in that direction. They're going to run this back. They're going to give this a shot. And that owner wants to win. He don't want to sit there and rebuild. No way. And Durant's 36 years of age anyway. So if you're Houston, you want Durant, I'd want Booker if I was Houston. I wouldn't want Durant, despite what Stevie says. I know how great he is. But the bigger issue for me is Phoenix. That owner, they just gave Budenholzer $50 million. Now they're going to trade the team on him? I'd be shocked. I think this is never going to happen.
Why would Houston put themselves in that position if they didn't have a shot?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why would Houston trade these beautifully valuable, super awesome-looking Nets picks if they didn't have a shot? They obviously think that they've got a shot.
Yeah.
The thing is, the league is different now. It's different from when they even traded for Durant. It's just very hard to have three guys making $50 million where all three of them aren't playing like at all NBA level. They can't even get them on the court together. That's been the problem. And so I agree with you, Doggy. I don't think Phoenix is going to do it. But I would say this. There is an argument to be made that there's a deal there for them that could actually potentially not hurt them and give Budenholzer more tools in the toolbox. I will say this, too. As far as Houston, they have a mandate from their ownership, Tillman Fertitta. He didn't want a 6-year long-term rebuild. He wanted right back up after they traded Harden. That is his mandate. That is why they went out and paid Fred VanVleet huge. Nobody was offering VanVleet that money last year. They paid him. They paid Dylan Brooks more money than anybody thought would give him because they wanted to get better fast. They are totally fine with being in 5th place. And if Kevin Durant can give them to 5th place next year, that would make them happy. That would follow their mandate.
Doggy, a couple of things. Number one, when Wendy's talking, just look straight. Stop looking at Wendy because on the camera, you're looking sideways and the audience doesn't see you. They see the side.
Stephen A., the camera follows him. Leave him alone.
Let me do it. You're going to make me conscious. Let me do the show.
Just admit that you miss us. Just admit that you miss us a teeny bit.
I'm trying. No, I don't miss you, Molly. I'm sorry. I just don't. I'm not while I'm stuck in this closet sweating. I'm not missing anybody right now.
You want to be with the crew.
That's
you want me to get you something from the calf in Bristol.
Number two,
come on.
we saw the side of Doggy's face. No, we don't need to see that. Number three, Wendy, especially for you. I am reporting here.
Uh-oh.
Pay no attention to what Phoenix is saying. They want out of Kevin Durant right now. That's number one.
Wait, say that one more time.
They want to
Pay
trade
no
Durant.
attention
Yep.
to what Phoenix is saying. They want out of Kevin Durant right now.
Wow.
That's number one.
Again,
Number
why
two.
do the Rockets do the deal, Molly? Why do
That's
they
why
do it
I
now?
asked you. I was like,
Number
wow.
two.
Okay, go ahead.
Number two, also, Houston doesn't want Kevin Durant. Ime Udoka may want him. But organizationally, they know that they are not there yet. So their plans are more long range. And they would prefer a Devin Booker, who they know it's a slim chance they'll get, but that would be their preference.
Now,
I'm
I
reporting.
can do some
Wait,
reporting.
Stephen
not
A,
giving an
okay,
opinion.
That's major.
reporting.
But before you do your reporting, can you explain something to me? So they want to get rid of Kevin Durant, but Houston doesn't want Kevin Durant. So, like,
Well,
what does this mean?
Stephen A is saying that, and I have no reason not to believe him. I'll believe him, but Devin Booker is fully committed to Devin Booker
Phoenix
is fully
Suns.
committed to the Phoenix Suns. That is where he wants to be, and he's fully committed to Kevin Durant, by the way. They're looking forward to playing with each other starting next week when they get together for Team USA. They're looking forward to playing their summer together. Like, there's no, from what I am told, there's no issue between KD and Booker. There's no issue between the Suns and Booker. Booker is moved his entire life to Phoenix. He's invested there. That's where he wants to be. But the Rockets did this deal for a reason. What Stephen A just said, I will trust it as fact. His record is what it is. But the Rockets could have done this. Why did the deal have to get done now? They could have done this deal with the Nets. What are the Nets going to do? The Nets want their picks back. The only people that had their picks were Houston. Houston didn't have to do it now. They did it now for a reason. There's a reason. There's information. There's something that they want to do. We're going to watch it unfold.
But remember, it's not about not wanting Kevin Durant like he's a problem. It's that Houston is recognizing that they're relatively young. So Ime and his staff obviously feel the way that they feel about Kevin Durant because of their relationship along with his greatness. But they have to look at the rest of the roster and ask themselves, what's the ideal fit? And right now, Devin Booker would be a more ideal fit than Kevin Durant, but not because of Kevin Durant. It's because of the youth that they have on their squad and how it wouldn't necessarily be an ideal fit at this moment in time. That's all I'm saying on the Houston angle. On the Phoenix front, you have a situation where they know what a great player he is. They also know they got swept. And this notion that you're bringing in Budenholzer, doggy, because you gave him 5 years with all of this money, and it's about win now, win now. No. Yes, you want to try to win now. Budenholzer is a champion as a coach. But the flip side to it is that you're basically hiring a guy who you trust long range. He'll be here now, and he'll be there when they're gone. They believe in him. He's the guy, the face of their franchise in terms of being a long-term coach.
Interesting.
That's how they view him. It's not about just now.
Phoenix doesn't, can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
Phoenix doesn't get that benefit of the doubt, Steve. They fired Monty Williams after Game 7, and they fired Vogel after 1 year. Now, all of a sudden, they fall in love with Budenholzer.
Can I answer that?
I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Let me answer that. Monty Williams was there when new ownership came on board, so he wasn't their guy. That's number one.
All right, how about Vogel?
Number two, well, Vogel was who they settled for because they wanted Ty Lue, but the Clippers wouldn't let Ty Lue out of his deal. They had other candidates.
So they give Vogel $41 million on a settle deal?
Again, you don't hide, but listen, because look at the numbers that the coaches get paid now. $40 million was nothing.
Why do the Suns no longer want Kevin Durant? Because they feel like they can't go all the way with him?
Combination of getting swept and the other things that I've talked about. Again, I don't mean they don't want him like they don't love the fantastic, phenomenal player that he is. But they understand where they were, knew what their limitations were, got swept by Minnesota, see Oklahoma City ascending, see Dallas ascending, know Denver's not going anywhere, and looking at themselves and saying, we're not deep enough, we're not together enough to offset what those dudes are going to throw at us. So we've got a great player, and we know how great he is, but we also know that we might be able to get assets to build upon in the future in place of him, not to mention the fact that Kevin Durant, I'm going to say this, and Wendy, Woj, everybody knows this. Kevin Durant marches to the beat of his own drum. He's a great guy. He's not a problem in terms of causing trouble. I'm not implying anything like that. But he keeps to himself. And when you got a young squad, sometimes they require more of you to be that vocal leader that steps out beyond just your own greatness so you can peel it out of others. That's not what he's known for. He's known for coming to work, grabbing his lunch pill, going on the basketball court, busting your living, you know what, and going home. That's Kevin Durant. Teams, particularly the younger ones, need more than that from your star.
Wait, do you agree that he wouldn't be a good fit in Houston?
No, I think he'd be a good fit anywhere. I'm a gigantic
He's a
believer.
good fit basketball-wise.
I'm a gigantic believer in his ability. I would just say the thing that I woke up today thinking about was not Mikal Bridges. It was those Nets picks. Those Nets picks these next 2 years are like platinum, and the Houston Rockets let him go. There's got to be a reason why they did that.
All right.
Other thing is Kevin Durant. Who says Kevin Durant wants to stay there? Kevin Durant probably wants out. Think about that.
Yeah. All right. Interesting.
That
Really
owner is
interesting.
not going to break up that team. I'm going to stick with that. I don't care what.
All right, we'll
I know
see.
Steve is a good
Draft
reporter.
day, free agency's coming, a lot's happening.